Hi. Fancy meeting you here after so long. Thank you, Patreon people, just right up front. You're awesome. I'm so glad we get to do a little extra content for you. And I get to see these awesome people again. It is a joy every time. We are here tonight to kind of talk about debrief on Burning Bright, our Blade Runner actual play that we wrapped up, I don't know, 1,000 years ago.
A minute ago?
Yeah.
It was last week.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now,
Blame the
people
delay on Kimmy. Like, it just got posted late.
No.
You gotta get it, so fascinating.
She knows where the power comes from.
We're literally going to be sitting here and there's just going to be like a big golden spear through the side of my head. I'm going to be like, it wasn't me! All right. Let's do the thing and go around the table.
Hey, everybody. I'm Joey, and I played Gavin Huxley, the Fixer. Absolutely normal human boy, a.k.a. secret replicant. And, yeah, there was a lot of stuff that didn't happen that we'll talk about.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kai. I use he, they, and she pronouns, and I played Haru, the very replicant investigator who uses they, them pronouns, and they were fine and normal, and nothing strange ever happened about them.
That seems accurate.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. I'm Sam. I use she, her pronouns, and I played Kestrel, who are a friendly, neighborhood, well-adjusted police lady.
Yeah.
Definitely
Really?
doesn't have any anger issues.
Who didn't kill most of the people at the end of our
So that description just put in my head, like Kestrel with the full body armor and automatic weapons, like in the little parking enforcement go-kart.
with the little like hat, little like parking meter hat.
Oh, I live.
No, if you look up Scary Dog in the dictionary, there's just a picture of her.
Yeah, love her.
Also, I feel like this game could have been called A Car. All cops are replicants.
Entirely by the chance of the dice. So,
Yeah, truly wild.
one other thing, you may notice that Cousteau is not here, who played
Fior.
Fior. Thank you.
Fioritari.
Perhaps coming in late, we'll see. But yeah, that's the way it goes when we're way behind on getting this recorded. So, I guess I should say who I am. I didn't.
Who are you?
Hi, I'm Kadave. Many of you know me. If you don't and you're a Patreon member on Happy Text, that's a little weird.
Maybe they're new.
Yeah, maybe you just joined up now and you haven't seen any of the things I've been in over the past
Ever.
15 years I've been doing this here, I guess. But cool. If that is you, awesome. Welcome. I'm so glad for you to be here. I use he, him pronouns, and I got to play all kinds of terrible-ass people.
And some wonderful people.
A couple of good people, and then just some real not good people.
You can say it. Tacky the bartender.
Taffy the bartender was the good one.
I love him.
Him and his pink eyebrow.
I love him.
Like, the more I thought about him, the more it is 100% the voice and personality from the neighbor Carl in Aqua Teen Hunger Force,
Oh my god. Yeah.
Yes.
mixed up with King Candy from Candy
Yes.
from
Yeah,
from Wreck-It Ralph.
Wreck-It Ralph.
That's an image.
That is-
It's all in my head now, and I can't make
Yeah.
it go away.
Nope, that's there forever.
but
I mean, they have the same hairstyle, so...
yeah, that was kind of the thing.
Uh-huh.
And that Carl guy is still totally stereotypical of a bunch of people that I knew in New Jersey.
Does that
So,
make us the Mooninites just coming in and wrecking his day
Yes.
all of the time?
Yes.
Yeah.
well, you are the Hunger Force from next door that just shows up and they're just in his pool and he's angry about it.
I am 3 or 4 years old, and I am too old for this. I don't need this.
All right. So let's talk about a couple of things. Let's see. The first thing I want to talk about is, I want to ask the question, is between the pre-written adventure stuff that we kicked off with, and then when we transitioned to the other crime, were you guys okay with that mystery? The stuff that I put together for the ending?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
I
That was
loved
amazing.
it.
Okay.
It was a stronger mystery. I didn't solve it fairly promptly.
Yeah.
No, yeah, same.
Yeah, it was more because the first one I felt like we all knew what was going on pretty early on. It was figuring out how we were going to maneuver it.
Yeah.
Yes.
But the second one, I was like, it could literally be any of these people.
Yeah.
Like it
Yeah.
felt very much.
But at the end, it didn't feel like I had pulled the carpet out from under you. guys.
No,
No.
not at all.
That was my terrible fear that
Oh,
it was
yeah.
going to be like one of those really bad dime mystery novels. Like, you read this whole book and you don't find out the killer is a character introduced on page 98 of 100.
We knew, you told us enough that it's like we knew that one of these many people we were meeting was probably the culprit, including that we had met like everyone that knew the judge by the time we got to the end. We met like every single person that has ever met her
I
practically.
legitimately had a suspect list
Yeah.
going. Like,
No, I think it was a good mystery. Mysteries are really hard to run.
Yeah.
You did a really good job with this one.
The other fear I had was like, if I come up with an idea and I run with something, is it going to be incredibly elementary running it for a bunch of intelligent people around the table that can outthink just me? Like,
Player brain is a wonderful thing.
yeah,
Yes.
but like, to try and really get a mystery feel, I try and fool the human brain, not just the character brain.
Yeah.
Like, that's, yeah, but good. I'm glad to hear that. Thank you.
Yeah. The box one is good. But it's so much more about the moral quandary and the chewing
Yeah.
as to like what do we do with Leah, and less about like, okay, so it's not the Aurelian. He's not the bad guy here. He's trying to smuggle her out. What the fuck do we do about that? And we were just a bunch of jokers making real strong independent decisions of ourselves.
we're all taking big swings.
looking at all y'all, defenestrator.
Guy was gonna get pushed out a window by somebody. It just might as well have been us.
Right?
The Mr. Scott Star Trek 4 excuse.
He was gonna get pushed out a window anyways. It's fine.
Oh,
Real
no.
pushable out the window face.
Oh
my God.
Yes.
Oh.
That's perfect. Okay. Let's then. I'll put out a question and then I'll yammer on for a minute so you guys can think.
Sure.
Did your character's story kind of follow the arc that you expected when we started out, from like character gen to conclusion? Then I think that's a good time. I'm too anxious to read this tonight. So during the game, if you were listening, at one point the deputy chief called Gavin to ask for a report on the other officers in the squad, because in the deputy chief's mind, Gavin was the human on the squad, to report back and see how this whole replicant police officer experiment was going. So Joey wrote up an excellent little email back about this in character, so it's not his fault, it's Gavin's fault.
Oh, I know it's Gavin's fault.
But I'm going to read that, and then we'll talk about the question. Finally finished the report on the team for the deputy chief. From the desk of Lieutenant Gavin Huxley.
Barf.
As requested,
Oh my God.
here is a report on the fellow officers in my team. I hope this information is enlightening and reflects how best to proceed with the department as a whole. Kestrel. Officer Kestrel is a model example of how replicants can be implemented into the force. No nonsense, direct, and helpful. They say a good soldier follows orders, and she appears to be proof positive of that sentiment. If we were able to come to some kind of arrangement with one of the off-world military operations and have any workable units that are no longer fit for combat sent to us for reassignment, it may be a way to help bolster our force without the need for excessive interference by any conglomerates with their own agenda. Of course, this would still require excellent human officers to take the lead. While a good soldier follows orders, it matters greatly who is giving these orders.
That's the line that would have got your ass kicked.
Yeah. Oh my God.
It was going just fine until the end.
You're doing so
We're doing
good.
so well.
I had enough fun at all writing this. I know what you're talking about.
I love a report.
Fior Rotari. Speaking of who is giving orders, I'm greatly concerned about our veteran officer Rotari. I don't know if the strain of so many years of service is becoming too much for him, but his already erratic and unorthodox methods have become more so. I've witnessed firsthand him allowing himself to become emotionally attached to our cases. While I have no concrete proof, I suspect he may have gone rogue on our last case. Please reference my full report from the case file for further detail.
Directly under the bus.
Even now, our current high-profile case, he seems more interested in trying to tie in one-off murders in the city, and in the best case scenario is seeing patterns that aren't there.
It's okay to be a little wrong as a treat.
Right, that's fine.
Haru. Officer Haru is one of the most obstinate, flighty, incorrigible officers I've ever worked with, but they get results. Their methods are often outside the bounds of standard practice, but with the state it's in, there are times those bounds are more of a roadblock than a guide. If their mercurial nature could be put through the crucible and tempered, they could prove to be a valuable asset. A promotion, perhaps.
Oh God, really?
That was Gavin's revenge on you. Like, oh, I'm gonna get them promoted.
Awful. Awful. They would have hated that.
He knows.
Oh my God, that's
Despicable.
so horrible. Iconic.
I have fun.
Oh, that was so good.
All right. So, did your character's story follow the arc you were expecting?
I can go first. No, and that was partially my fault. So when I built this character originally, I was kind of pulling from a couple different sources because I knew we were playing a more mature game. Like I wanted to pull from some darker source material. So I was trying to pull from like American Psycho and Talented Mr. Ripley and Gattaca.
Oh, Gattaca.
And then I started reading American Psycho and realized, oh, that's not where I want to go. Because as good as the movie is, the movie does a very good job of editing that book because, dear God, I'm like, okay, we're gearing more towards Talented Mr. Ripley now. It's so good. It's fantastic. So I had kind of built in my backstory a lot of, I guess I can tell it's a post-mortem. I can tell it now. So Gavin clearly was not Gavin's real name.
You don't say.
Weird.
Huh.
Gavin
Weird.
Huxley.
No, but Gavin Huxley did exist.
Sure.
Gavin, who was actually Wyatt Hunter originally, was working as a sex worker along with his doxy friend, was picked up by the Gavin Huxley. They had a relationship. Gavin Huxley told Wyatt he was going to get him off world and get them to this paradise colony, and then pulled the rug out from under Gavin, or from Wyatt. So Wyatt killed Gavin and assumed his identity.
Amazing.
Perfectly reasonable.
Right. Also, no idea that he was actually a replicant. That Wyatt was a replicant.
Yeah.
He was just angry. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
so that's why there's also no record of Gavin being a replicant, because
'Cause
the original Gavin was
wasn't.
not a replicant.
Oh.
So a lot of that, I was like trying to figure out how to make it come out, how to play it in, and I tried a couple different things, and I had a couple things in my brain like, okay, if this happens, then this will happen.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those times where the dice rolled a little too well too often.
You did roll very well.
I rolled
regularly.
very well, and I never do that. So I'm like, oh, okay, I guess,
They have spoken.
I guess we're keeping this under the wraps. But yeah, I had I had another list somewhere in here of all the people who knew, who Gavin thought knew that he was a replicant. So he was going to kill them all off to ensure his secret was safe.
You were radiating that energy.
I was trying.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad that came across.
Murder energy. I have a list energy.
Yeah. But yeah, so it was interesting to see where the character went and not seeing that fuse light, but mainly because of the if-thens I put in front of myself. And I think if I had not done that, it would have been easier.
Sure. Makes sense.
It does make me wish, though, that Haru and Gavin had actually spoken. Because they actually have so much in common.
Like the plot of every romantic comedy from 2000 to 2012.
Yeah.
It was like,
Yeah.
look, if you just say something,
No.
then it's all Say Something is probably the title of one of those movies.
Like Say Anything is one of.
Say Anything.
Oh no,
is
that's the other one. That's
Yeah,
the earlier 80s.
But
Oh my God.
yeah, it's totally.
So funny. I guess I can go. So Haru was not a Nexus 9, should not have been working for the LAPD, was a refurbished Nexus 8 that stole a serial number from a Nexus 9 because their girlfriend, Isabel, is a engineer for the Replicant Underground and used to work for Wallace.
Oh.
And so she left that, burned that whole life, and went underground to help hide replicants. And part of it was that she then found this replicant in literally a pile of trash that had been thrown out and left. That they didn't remember who they were. They didn't remember anything about why they were made. They just fully wiped, dumped basically a piece of machinery, but they did have a strange core memory. And this is where the tree obsession comes from. Because actually in character generation, one of the things that I rolled was their core memory was a miracle. And Blade Runner as a world doesn't have a lot of like naturally growing plants, flora, fauna that are real are so rare. And their miracle that they saw that was embedded deep in their memories that were implanted that they could remember, that they weren't sure where they came from, which is a whole other thing, was someone actually pulling an oak out of a pile of trash in the middle of the city. And so they were trying to find out if that was real. If somehow there was a way for the world to grow again. And so their obsession with trees was like, is this a real memory or was this a made memory? And so every time we interacted with memory making, memory modification, that's why they would just go completely off the rails and start looking at something else, because they were just like, they only have like 2 years of memories. And outside of that, it's all implanted memories that they don't fully understand. And so they were trying to figure out, is this a real memory? Because they have this memory and there's some like facial memory attached to it of like this person that clearly these memories either were programmed to be or belonged to at some point, because they can also like literally remodel people's memories in this world. They do it in the first movie of a face that isn't theirs. It was a young woman, not their own face, and trying to figure out if she had been murdered over what she saw potentially. And so they were solving a murder that only they knew about because it was in their manufactured potentially memory.
Fascinating.
And so they're a malfunctioning Nexus 8 model who has joined the police force to get access to things like the Esper Wall. And so actually the promotion would have actually been very helpful, because what they actually wanted was to find enough information to decide whether or not it was even real. And so like, I even told Dave, because I was like, this is extremely elaborate and I've just gone off and done all of this. And it's okay if none of it ever comes up. And we kept on interacting with it. And so that's where a lot of their erratic behavior came from. And actually, I thought that it would go worse for them being that erratic. But because we were all hunting our own agendas, they were just kind of mysterious. And it was very fun because they would just like leave and do whatever. And everyone was like, okay, bye. And they were like, perfect, I'm going to go and do stuff that's super illegal. Bye.
Have a good night. See you in the morning.
And also them being a good detective, which I did not actually expect to happen, but the dice agreed with me regularly, made it look like they were very good at their job when really they would like find a clue and then spend the rest of that shift doing something else. And so, yeah, they're trying to destroy Wallace and the LAPD from the inside, essentially. And their eventual goal is to get all that information, find the truth about their thing, and then go join the Replicant Underground. Because it's literally where they go home when they go home, is to a place full of the Replicant Underground. They're like, I'm not a cop, don't look at me.
I used the opportunity because I had to edit something in that pre-written adventure to avoid some lines and veils. And that was the opportunity I had to make that image that you found in the apartment. So I was like,
Nice.
this is where I'm going to insert that. There we go.
First thing that I found in the entire game. Trees, I am vindicated.
And I had not even, it was not intended just for you to find it. Like,
Yeah.
I had no, when I did it, I was like, this is how I have to edit this in. I was like, who knows who's going to find it? But then I was like, you're going to see it at some point.
Yeah.
Luckily, it was you and not somebody else that was like, ooh, mine.
No, only Haru went, ooh, mine.
But it was intended to aim at you, so at least that worked out.
It hit directly where it needed to go and turned my chaotic, malfunctioning, very malfunctioning replicant into a arborist enthusiast for the rest of the game. So funny.
Oh, just our team Lorax.
Mm-hmm.
Here for the tree.
The shortest, oh, Lorix is pretty short. Yeah.
I think yes and no for Kestrel. Because her backstory, which we got a little of, like hints of here and there, is that she was obviously a combat replicant from off-world, working for one of the giant corporations that's, you know, battling with all the other ones up there. And her unit that she worked with, which was basically like her family, her pack, was sent on a suicide mission because they had outlived their usefulness. And she survived.
Yeah, she did.
Mm-hmm.
Love
Because
her.
she's hard to kill, like Steven Seagal. And the corporation didn't like that, so her core memory, which is a real memory rather than an implanted one, is that they sent a Blade Runner after her to retire her. And she didn't want to be retired. So she retired them and moved to Earth. Which is where her brother from her, replicant batch was already on Earth, having come to Earth after being a combat replicant as well. And he basically was like, come here, you can hide out, which was her goal. And he worked as a bouncer. We saw him in a couple
love him.
episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, I don't really have the people skills to be a bouncer, so I guess I'll be a cop.
The logic. Oh my god. Yes, leg low. Let's go straight to the LAPD.
Oh, that's the only other thing she's good at. She's like, I can shoot stuff. Let me use my skills. So it did go like kind of how I expected it to go for her in that respect, where like the job to her was like, this is easy. I could do this in my sleep. You want me to shoot somebody? Okay.
Boy, could she though. She
Yep.
could actually do it in her sleep, but we'd
The
all be like,
detecting part
"Ah."
was a little bit harder, which the dice agreed with. And that was fine, because that's not her forte quite as much. But I think the part that surprised me was, like, kind of the more social aspect of, like, how she developed through the campaign and, like, how that first mystery really, like, affected her. Like, seeing how
Sure.
the other replicants who had, like, implanted trauma and how that affected them and like how they were suffering here on Earth in a very similar way to like how she was suffering mentally from the very real things that happened to her, and like coming into contact tangentially with the robot underground and being like, I want to help this, but I'm not good at that. How do I do that? And then with the AI in the second mystery, like that social connection, I expected her to have a lot more friction with humans, but I think that kind of like there was a little bit, but there was a lot more like positive interaction with other replicants in AI that like I think was healing for her, weirdly.
All right.
So yeah.
I will think it's funny. I thought that Haru and Kestrel would actually like replicant it up a little bit more, but because they were like, Haru was like, no, I am normal. I need everyone to perceive me as very normal because I'm going to go do something deeply strange next. So they never engaged when Kestrel was being very like, yes, replicants, we are all like on each other's side. And Haru was like, nope, I'm going to go be a good lapdog now because that's what it's going to take to get what I want. And I was just like, I always look at my characters and go, can you be better? And that was one of those moments because Kestrel, it's so funny because you managed to get these two.
Yeah.
And it was very funny to see Kestrel be like the magnet of all the replicants that needed kindness.
Which is like not super expected. It's like it's going to a Doberman for kindness, but having them actually be like, they're there. Don't be crying.
There read that Ron Swanson with the broom.
Yeah. That was the
Yeah.
energy.
Yeah.
Oh wait, that wasn't Ron Swanson. That was Alec Baldwin in
in
Yes.
30 Rock.
I'm
Yeah,
glad that
same
came
energy.
through.
Yeah.
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 Like she wanted so badly to like help, but she's just like, I was not built for this. Yeah.
So one of these questions on this questionnaire is, which NPC was your favorite other than Taffy the bartender?
Oh,
Ah.
Oh, that's a good
that
question.
is a good question.
Oh, what was his name? Kevin?
The engineer.
Oh, your
Engineer?
engineer.
Oh.
Who, if he wasn't stuck in Wallace, I was absolutely gonna kill. I loved him. I absolutely loved him. I had a whole
I
thing.
love this energy for you.
I had a whole thing planned because again, Gavin has just found out that he's a replicant. He hasn't told anybody, and I'm trying to like figure out how do I express this? How do I express this? And Kevin's already gotten some information from me, so he's already a bit of a liability. So the plan was to basically, hey, come back to my apartment. We'll hang out. We'll talk, and then kind of trauma dump on him.
And then American Psycho him.
Yeah, basically, American Psycho before the trauma dump. So basically, I'd gotten all of those drugs from Argent in preparation for that.
Oh.
So I was going to like pour a bunch of the cocaine in his drink and like it's Coke.
I love this.
And then as he's drinking it, info dump on him and then let him basically OD and
Yeah.
then get rid of the body like I did with the original Gavin. So that was the original plan. But I loved him and it broke my heart
God.
that I'm like, I am going to murder this sweet, sweet boy.
I'm so glad you didn't do that. I would have been traumatized.
So funny. I love a plan.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I did not see that coming either.
Yeah.
That's fun.
That's good.
Ah, man down.
I don't know what happened.
Book fell down, everyone.
Oh, I'll get it later. It's fine. It's not important.
Gosh. Favorite NPC.
It's a great question.
There were some really good ones. I really liked. I know that Quell came from the first adventure, but I really liked what you did with them, especially like as time went on, and them being like, "I got murdered. I didn't enjoy it very much. Please don't let that happen again."
Yeah.
Well, I had a list of NPCs that you either had heard of or knew or that were basically on the, like, who from the people you've met might be on the hit list for this person, right? Like, why would this person be angry about? And the way I had kind of done the Jekyll and Hyde thing with the, like, the rage murders versus the meticulous murders, it was like, okay, well, here's the list of people that might be a rage target, and here's a list of people that might be, an exercise in some kind of macabre, meticulous nature. So it was like, let me go down the list, and I was like, yeah, it's been enough time. Let's do this one.
Quell's a good target.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was really good. And not only that, but the evolution of like cold person the other side of the line that we just call because we had to like the end of it where they were like super appreciative that we had, solved the person who was going to try and graphically murder them again if we didn't stop it, was really, I really liked the journey that you took them on.
That was something that I liked playing with. The idea of like knowing that you have been killed and that no one knows who did it yet. So you could be killed again at any moment. And like, that's why I kind of did the big lockdown at Wallace and that whole
Good.
thing. Cause I was like,
Yeah.
of course, that
Yeah.
would totally be a thing. Like,
Yeah.
if you had some degree of power over a corporate mega universe of armed military people, you would be like, yep, I'm going to stay in this crazy fortified building that we have. Like,
Perfect sense.
Also, full disclosure, I had forgotten that Quell was a replicant. So that moment when Quell showed up, that was legit shock. I was like, what do you... Oh, right. Okay, I'm fine.
I remember you had an outsized shock about that, but I thought it was just you playing the fact that you were like, hi.
Oh, yeah, me
Yeah.
too.
No, that's why I rolled it into it. Use what you got.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was
man.
good. That's good.
I was so confused.
Fuck.
What the fuck is this?
Somebody put them back together? fucking up.
Who's that? Who's in the box?
Incredible.
It's still Gwyneth Paltrow.
For sure.
I think the Wallace AI ended up being my favorite.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because, like, taking it from just, like, that sort of, like, infomercial that played when we called up to, like, an actual entity that you made of a giant corporation that Kestrel actually cared about is, like,
Okay. Yeah.
like, an incredibly compelling characterization to, like, make it so that she's like, no, this faceless AI from this giant corporation is now my friend, and I will help them.
That's why when I wanted to mess with, like, the idea of, because it's a world where AI had fucked stuff up,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
why it wasn't really a thing for a long time. So then they're getting back into it. Obviously, they have to relearn all the lessons of educating and creating a new artificial intelligence. And when it fucks up through no fault of its own, but it's programmed to not be able to fuck up, now it's got this neurosis. And that's why I was like, yeah, that'd be fun. Let's have just on the verge of a mental breakdown AI that has thermonuclear weapons.
Yeah.
I loved
Like-
it. Immediately relatable.
Yeah.
Also very joy coded.
Sure.
Yeah. I could see where that would, in a couple of years, become a fully fleshed out, state of the art AI model that you could take home and do all kinds of strange things with.
Totally.
Looking at you, Ryan Gosling.
Yeah,
Listen, live your life.
it's true.
You know, I can't fault him for liking either of the people involved in this situation. So, let's think.
Dave, I have a question for
Yeah.
you. Because there was a lot of things that we fucked up.
Oh yeah.
I want to know some of them so bad.
Yes.
Well, the first thing that shocked me was how incredibly thorough you guys were about every person I introduced in the second, in the second film of our two-part filmography. Like, I mentioned a guy at a bus stop. You guys were like, I'm going to learn that guy's family tree. I'm going to track him down. I'm going to find out all the subscriptions they have to blogs. And then we're going to find out if they're clean. Like, oh, okay. All right, guys.
Everything.
Cool. Like, that's where we ended up in the whole couple of scenes with the head judge. Because
Oh,
I
yeah,
just
that
had
guy.
mentioned, like, he existed and he was a thing that was thinking about who's going to be the new replacement. And that, like, he didn't really get along with the judge, but he was an elderly man. Like, clearly he could not have done this. And you guys are like, no, we're going to find out more about
We
that
had to
guy.
go to the Philharmonic and interrogate him, his bodyguard,
Right.
the drink he was drinking.
Yeah.
Shrubbery next to the bodyguard.
Right.
That's my
100%. Judge was not gonna be the one who did it, but he could have the people. He had the people and the
True.
power to do it.
Sure. Yeah.
But also, I was thinking like he might be the next target. So I was trying to like figure out who he knew if there was any connections there.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, I take some responsibility for the thoroughness. I done a detective game before, set in the world of the fantasy series we don't talk about anymore. And we went on a full wild goose chase because we forgot to investigate the crime scene.
Oh.
It's like we investigated it, we didn't like investigate it. So I was like, I am checking every box. I am ticking every
Yeah.
check because I don't want to lose something that stupidly.
That's fair. That's just how I play video games, and so how I tabletop a little bit. I'm like, ooh, the plot's over there. What is all of this?
I just remember everyone being in the bathroom at, I think it was Quell's apartment, where it was like all three of you were all in the bathroom
Yes.
Studying that tub.
studying the tub.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
It was like, wow, we're in it to win it. We're gonna investigate it.
this
We
is
are winning
100%
Blade Runner.
full
We are winning.
CSI Los Angeles 2038.
yeah.
Like, okay, all right.
That reminds me, I never did give that plasma cutter back.
No, absolutely not. That's yours now.
Coco was sad.
Sorry, Coco. He's got plenty of things.
Sure,
to play
sure.
with. He's fine.
Also, that guy probably got wrecked by all of his employees, so that
Oh
plasma cutter-
yeah,
He deserved it.
y'all. Yeah, I mean, y'all did kind of cause an uprising, which is fine.
What? I would never.
Gently
Seize the means of
encouraged
production.
A robot uprising. It's fine.
This was a human uprising.
Oh.
I
They were mad at replicants taking their jobs.
in the
Right.
first half, when you guys went off the rails to just be like, we're gonna frame some fuck. I was like, oh, all right.
That was awesome.
Pretty good. And then I was like, I'll let them have a party. And then that's when I was like, oh no, here's, murder number 2 has happened.
See, that was your fault though, because you put me in a position where I was among peers and included that guy. And I'm like, oh, he has to die now. I cannot let this stand.
He did say a thing I didn't like.
Yeah, I'm like,
See, this is the thing. I was playing on Haru being the most morally dubious because they would do fucking anything to get their answers. Wasn't required. They didn't have to do any of that. No dirty work was required on their part. It was great.
Yeah. But yeah, that was kind of the biggest fuck up from the first half. Because it was like, cool. In theory, there were some clues and stuff. If you had followed them in the direction that they had anticipated in the story, you could have intercepted Leah before she killed.
Yeah.
Right.
oh, what's her face?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
descendant of
Terrell.
Terrell. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's her name? Whatever.
Elizabeth? No.
No.
I don't recall.
Lilith?
But it's fine.
Lilith.
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 Terrell, yeah. So you could have saved Lilith from her grisly death in her building,
Yeah, that was wretched.
but that was kind of the trade-off. Because I was like, you guys spent all this other time off figuring out a way to lure this guy to a building and take care of that. Okay, and then you went to celebrate, and I'm like, now's the time. I guess that's already happened. So instead of that, get there and intercept. You also managed to, here's the other thing, though. By framing somebody and making it look like they did it, and it was an enemy of the Wallace Corporation, you guys did head off the Wallace death squad that was coming to take care of you.
Cool.
Because Quell had dispatched a group because you guys were taking too long. Like,
Oh.
but then suddenly you'd solved it. So she's like, oh, all right, guys, come on back. Yeah. So you didn't get in a full-on death firefight with
I'm glad she got murdered.
Yeah. So that's something you successfully
And
dodged.
then they spent the rest of the next arc being so nice to us.
Right?
Yeah.
You had something that they wanted.
I can respect that.
I love them.
Like, it's just an equation.
Yeah.
Everything, yeah.
Gaslight gatekeep girl boss.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Kevin. It was Kevin Fenderson,
Ah, yeah.
the engineer.
Love Kevin.
Boy. Hey,
Sweet,
that
sweet
lockdown
Kevin.
saved his life. I was keep asking, are they still locked down?
Oh yeah, you did keep
Are they
asking.
still locked
That's
down?
why you
Where's
kept
Kevin? He's still
asking.
locked down?
I was thinking you were looking for a good time with Kevin.
No.
That is a good time, but
That would
Different
be the
kind of
lure to get him to the apartment,
yeah.
and then yeah.
Well, man, if that had happened and Kevin got killed after that whole lockdown thing, then it would have just been a
man.
disaster.
especially because Fior would have been like, it's involved.
It must be connected. Yeah.
And then I would have had to take out Fjord. Like there was dominoes.
Yeah,
There was-
honestly, I would have loved to have seen that showdown.
Also, 100% thank you to all of you, because I know that you were working at cross purposes, but it never turned into that like spiteful PvP festival. That any kind of game where there's intrigue between players can turn into. Like, yeah, that's always a fear. But I appreciate the fact that you guys are like, no, we're supposed to all be working in the same direction, kind of assumption.
Also, they're selfish in the right way.
Exactly.
Yes, yeah.
It was in all of our shared interest to keep Kestrel alive and happy.
I'm just gonna do my job so I can go home and snuggle with my dog.
You're a good dog. Brick the best boy.
Oh.
Also, for the
Giant
love of
boy.
God, I want to live in this.
Oh my god, I
yeah.
know. That place
Oh.
was gorgeous.
That like, what is it? Gothic academic style.
Yeah. That's like a
Design.
modernist gothic academic, and
Yeah.
I live for it.
So good. Yeah. I kept trying to make some props for the second half, like some more things, and without without straying into when you need something weirdly specific,
Yeah.
Google image search isn't going to help you anymore.
Nope.
So without straying into using AI to make clues for our anti-AI game,
Yeah.
like
Correct.
And also, I didn't want to get into it because we are putting content out in the public. I didn't want to get into that.
Yeah.
If it was a home game, okay.
Sure.
Yeah, that's a sticky wicket that I didn't want to wicket about.
Yeah, I thought the like physical clues were fun for the first half, but the second half didn't feel like it was missing anything.
No, not at all. Yeah, they were a fun surprise. It didn't. Yeah, the second mission wasn't really missing anything because they weren't there.
Also, I had the best prop. It was a fern. I had a nice long chat with a fern, basically. You didn't need to bring me a fern. There's plenty of plants in the world.
What else? The one NPC that you guys didn't thoroughly investigate was the lawyer for the scrapyard.
Oh
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And the lawyer from the scrapyard totally knew something.
Ah,
We decided to fuck up the scrapyard instead.
we did, yeah.
But yeah, that Charlotte Harper had dealt with the perpetrator of these horrible crimes
Yeah.
because she had been in that courtroom before
Yeah.
That makes sense.
and had annoyed him as a law clerk.
Oh.
But she managed to just think he was a creep.
Interesting.
She, like he had been at her apartment building
Yeah.
late one night, and she's like, "What the fuck?" Because she had been out. He was coming out of the building when she got home super late because she'd been out partying, and she got home at like 4:30 in the morning, and he was leaving, and she freaked out. Saw him there, but what's she gonna do? He just left.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Fascinating.
Huh. Instead, we got a guy probably murdered by his employees.
By his angry workers.
No.
And you set a guy on a path to the big city for a big change in his life.
Yeah.
We sure
Oh yeah.
did.
Got him on the bus and everything.
There you go. Equivalent exchange.
Yeah. And we got those old electronics that I continued to sell for the rest of the game.
That's true. That did make us some money.
Listen, I spent the entire game so poor.
I don't know her.
Get out.
I immediately spent mine on body armor or something.
Yeah. I did love the constant dichotomy of like if a nightclub was 100 stories tall, Gavin was on like floor 80 and Haru was on like the bottom, if not the basement floor.
Same
So-
building.
Yeah, same building. So funny. Very on
Delightful.
brand.
Delightful.
Man, no. The problem with doing these is now this is the second one of these debriefs that I've done, and it immediately puts me in the mindset to be like, ooh, I have an idea to run another season. Like,
Mm,
yeah.
hmm
Oh,
Oh,
no.
no.
Oh no.
Another
Included, there's a whole new
Yeah, but-
expansion about the replicant underground.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see down the road.
Yeah.
I've got a couple other things that I'm excited about.
Yeah.
So, I did run that Electric State alpha play at the last GameCon, and as far as a game system, whew, it delighted me so much because it took the usual Free League style of simplified sort of dice pool-y kind of stuff and slashed it in half to make it even easier. Now you just have stats. So everything falls under the 3 stats. Like that's your die roll. And then you get bonuses for situational stuff and things like that.
Fascinating.
But yeah, it
Cool.
was. At first, I was like, "Oh, is this going to be really super generic?" And it totally was not at all. And it has tons of room for like a creepier version of our Tales from the Loop universe
Good.
because it's civilization is slowly sliding into oblivion.
Ooh.
So it's kind of rad. And then after we talked last time, I am jazzed up about running Dune.
Yes.
So we'll see.
Nice.
I've let the cat out of the bag, Patreon people. Those are the things I'm looking at for
Secrets.
the future. Nah, but who the hell knows when? It's not going to be at least until the fall. So that's the way it goes. Because I'm taking my children across the country on a road trip,
Woo!
Cool.
which I'm excited about for them, but I'm not super excited about trapping a bunch of children in the car for 60 hours.
Mm.
Bark.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But, you know, it is what it is. They can figure it out. I did it when I was a kid, and I didn't have a fucking anything but a Game Boy. You couldn't see at night. So,
Screen didn't
Hey, that's
you used
real,
to
actually.
hold it up and hope that you'd pass through an urban area with streetlights
Yep.
for a while.
But you only get.
Yeah. Drive faster, Dad.
Amazing.
But, yeah, it'll be fun.
You know, I was genuinely surprised by this system. I was like, okay, Blade Runner system, because I have a long-standing dislike of mechanical mysteries in games.
Mm.
And this one, partly because of the way you ran it, I think, but like it incentivized curiosity in a way that I found very fruitful, where like I could solve the mystery like I did pretty early on in the first one. But it incentivized Haru to continue to ask questions through the mechanics and through the format of it being shifts and all this stuff, and like, what are you going to do this shift? I was like, I was really genuinely surprised, and it's actually gotten me off of my like no mysteries in tabletop games. It's make me want it now. And that's what this system really did, was like, no, prove it to me. To the point where I'm actually now doing another like investigative mystery series on another channel, because I was like, okay, I actually did like this. So you and the Blade Runner system have cured me of my dislike of mysteries in tabletop.
I'm glad to hear that. I actually really liked the shift mechanic a lot.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Same.
I think it's fantastic.
It kept things moving, it kept it a pace. And then it makes it so much easier as a game master to have like these concrete points of time where you could be like, cool, here's my apocalypse countdown clock going over here. I can easily keep track and not be like, when you're sort of freeform exploring stuff,
Oh my god.
you end up with the like, well, I don't know, have they done? It seems like a lot of times tabletop games either cram 100 years worth of content into one 24-hour period,
Yeah.
or the exact opposite, where
Yeah.
it's okay. Well, you've been playing in this universe for 18 years now,
Yeah.
you know, that kind of thing, and it gets tough.
Yeah. I get accused of playing 24 when I run 5e.
Yeah,
And they're not wrong. But this system really feels like you get vignettes that are the meaningful heart of what you're doing in the narrative without it being too clipped. Because you can also say, like, between, these are the things that I did, or like, during my off time, this is the stuff I did, without it being the focus for an entire session, 5 sessions, eight sessions. It's only been 6 hours that we've played this session for, this is like the 7th session. No, it's like beat, 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 and you can feel the time ticking on.
It was interesting having time as a resource. It was really fascinating because, again, we were all trying to solve the mystery. We all had our own agendas, and then also trying to do the mechanics of leveling up or off time. So you really had to look shift by shift, like, okay, here are the things I need to do. Here's what I want to do. Can I make this?
Right.
How can I make this work? Can I fit it both in the same shift? Can I?
And
wiggle
when we
that?
get off sync and like someone had to take an off time when someone wanted to do something else, which we had happen a lot because
Yeah.
someone kept on walking away from the party. Very fascinating, and to like try and coordinate it, very interesting.
It also gave kind of like a really measurable like urgency of like that feeling of like Wallace was kind of breathing down our neck, and we had, you know, the deputy chief like, it's like, oh, it's been like 3 shifts before we've gotten anything done. Somebody's gonna get mad at us soon.
for sure. That was probably the hardest part running the game, was dealing with like offset times.
Yeah.
Because like there were parts where like I wanted to bring everyone together, and I was like, oh no, wait, we need to get through. You know, 2 people have to take downtime. Okay, what are you guys gonna do? Okay, now everybody's back working again. Okay, let's go on to the next thing.
But it also has that like 24-hour city energy that Blade Runner does have, so it actually ended up being very cool. Where it would be like, okay, it's like 3 p.m, but we all have to take a downtime. But when you wake up, the city's still working. Everyone's still up and doing stuff, so it didn't really matter.
Yeah.
It was very cool to see the time shifts and like where a certain replicant would make certain choices to be offset, and then to see like where it would catch up. And honestly, like the consequences of that were actually regularly very interesting, because it would be like, hey, we all need to come together to do something. It's like, okay, well, I'm gonna work 1 shift and then take a nap And that's gonna be fine with everybody, right? Right, great, because I'm still doing my job.
I miss a job where I could take a nap.
It's lovely.
It was great.
Working from home, ooh, it's lovely.
The other question I wanted to ask you guys is to do with a lot of the terrible people that I was playing. Was it, in all candidness, did I push too far for anybody?
Not even.
No.
Not even a little.
Okay, all right. Because that, we had our lines and veils. I got that, but like, when you're just being a terrible fucker, you got to be like, I don't know, that's not who I am as a person. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
I think you stayed within the genre.
Mhm.
Definitely, yeah.
But like, I've seen the original Mad Max series. Nothing you did in this was worse than that.
No, sure. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah. That's one of the the things I like about horror games. And not that this was a horror game, but it had some horrible elements. Is I like that visceral, detailed description of things.
Mhm.
Because it's fascinating, and it's always fascinating to think about like what terrible shit people can do to each other.
Yeah.
You know,
That murder scene with the judge.
Oh, it was so
Incredible.
good.
So good.
It was so good.
So good. Love that stuff.
it was the first when I before we even started playing, I had come up with the idea of Noah the replicant with the
Jekyll
double
and Hyde,
imprint
yeah.
kind of thing, and I was like, cool. I like that a lot, and it'll make it harder for them to be caught because they could be living a totally normal life and just have breaks where they're just going off and the traveling salesman with, because I didn't even know what job they were going to have yet. Like the traveling salesman with two separate families,
Oh,
kind of vibe. But then as we got into it, and then I wanted, because the first mystery, you guys interacted with Wallace, but it was very kind of like low level in the city. And I was like, well, let's see
how big?
the other side of the city is. Yeah, like because that's also something we don't get to see a lot in the films.
Yeah.
Because it's mostly down and dirty in the gutters kind of stuff.
Well, I think it also really pushed our buttons to be on the high rises. I mean, that's your favorite terrain, but the rest of us.
Yeah, definitely a little out of place
Yeah. Yeah.
for some of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But going back to the talk about like horror and the lines and veils and things, a lot of people, not a lot of people, but some people online are like, oh, safety tools are restricting and safety tools are, they're freeing if anything else. Like, okay, this is what's not on the list. Great. That means everything else could be on the list.
For
Yeah.
me.
So I can do what Dave did. I can do we're going to cut someone in half. It's not on the list. We're okay. We're checking in. We're still good. Okay, we keep going. So it's really freeing. So
Yeah.
what is available to you.
Yeah.
Honestly, far ickier for me was playing like the human supremacists
Oh, yeah.
and all that. And
Yeah.
I'm just like, this is,
These guys suck.
God, I don't want to, because, horrible crime, that's interesting, at least.
Yeah.
This is just banal, terrible. So, I mean, I did not regret the fact that you guys pushed that guy out the window.
That was so
Even
funny.
a little bit.
Nope. No
Very much
regrets.
in character
regrets?
too. Like,
No regrets.
like Kestrel is like, this is not the worst thing I've ever seen. Going to the crime scene, and then like the human supremacist, she's like, I definitely want to kill you. This is worse.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Mm-hmm.
I do wish that I had played a character that was more on board, only because I wanted to participate in that scene, me as a player, but I was also enjoying the fact that I'm like, no, you're being a little bastard child. You don't get to know things. This is how I talk about my characters. With so much love that I shake them.
Oh my gosh.
Misaggression. Yeah.
That's like a weird core memory for me is when my son was born, he was premature, and my wife was in the hospital for a week after her water broke.
Oof.
Before he was born. And we were in this room, and there was no cell phone reception. The Wi-Fi was restricted to everything.
Oh.
Like, all you could get was basic web pages, not even social media, right? And you certainly couldn't use any streaming service. Like, I managed to get around it with like some obscure, like Crunchyroll,
Okay.
you know, that kind of stuff. But like
You can
that's
only watch anime in this
right,
hospital.
right. Like, but it was just like, yeah, that one, and there was something else I don't remember. But it was like all of the big streamers at the time. I mean, this was 10 years ago, so there weren't the plethora of streamers we have now. We're all blocked. So we were just trapped in this room, and the television, every half hour, no matter what you were watching, would come on because it was in the, you know, maternity wing of the hospital, would come on and give you this little, and it would alternate between English and Spanish. So one time would be English, the next time would be Spanish, and it would give you this like checklist of things not to do with your new baby.
Don't shake them.
Including this very like horrifying vision of this person with a little baby doll that's like and the baby doll's head is like about to fly off. Terrible.
Oh
Terrible.
man. See, that's why you make tabletop player characters so that you can shake them.
Yeah, yeah.
All of them, every single one
And
of
that's
them,
A-okay.
except for Ireland.
Yes.
But
Unshakable.
Unshakable. Perfect baby, no notes. Haru, wretched. Awful.
All notes.
All notes.
Oops, all notes.
here's final hypothetical question.
Mm-hmm.
If we were to come back and do another season of Blade Runner, would you want to continue with the same characters? Or would you want to time skip or people skip into some other different scenario?
Same character. Brick comes on as a canine officer.
Officer Brick. Officer Brick.
I want to get like a fifth chair.
Just put Fenris in.
have-
Yeah, the Fenris in the
Yeah,
show.
or like have somebody play Brick.
Yes!
Oh.
Here's the thing. We'll come back. I'll play Haru. Haru will finally get themselves killed. And then I'll play Brick.
Yes! Good. Amazing.
Oh.
No, I think I think it would depend. It would depend on what grand image you had, because honestly, I could keep playing Haru. I love them very much. They're very fun to play. But I love poking what you make. I want to poke it. And if
Sure.
Haru is not
Not
the
correct
best
shape
suited,
stick. Yeah.
I would build a character to poke it. I just want to touch it.
Oh my. Yeah, I think I'd want to still play Gavin, but I think with a time skip, just because
Sure.
his end goal was to get off world, and if we're doing that, I'd see what his goals would be if he was still on world.
Mm-hmm.
You find out that the whole off-world thing is a scam,
Yeah,
Right.
fully.
which it totally is.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But now you're resigned and stuck.
I'd be curious if we all did a time skip, if any of us would still be working for the LAPD.
Probably Kestrel. So many more guns.
If Gavin hasn't gotten caught, probably Gavin.
Fair.
For Haru, it's just if they have their answer or not.
Mm.
It's the only reason they're there.
That's interesting. I don't know. Like, there's a part of me that wants to explore stuff that we haven't seen before.
Yeah.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Different places.
Yeah, go to the
Different.
farms. Mm.
Mm.
Like Blade Runner universe Western. Like do it at
Ooh.
like out in a rural community. So it's not the big city. It's
Western.
kind of like out there. Could be fun. I don't know.
Vegas.
Yeah, but like that would be
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
But I also try and stick within the general continuity of the universe.
I'm trying to remember when they said Vegas fell in the sequel movie. I don't know.
It was
That I don't remember.
significantly before.
Yeah, it was really fucked up. Never mind.
Yeah. I mean, the desert will reclaim that city very quickly if people stop being there. But
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll be like engulfed in sand.
And mostly sand by the
onto
time you get there.
30th floor of buildings and stuff. Like,
That was awesome.
yeah. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. Hmm.
And then Taffy has to be there as a rule. I don't care who I'm playing.
I'm just gonna bring him in as an NPC everywhere. He's gonna be like my John Ratzenberger.
God. Yeah.
Like, every game is gonna be some guy you have to deal with that is just complete stonewall asshole about everything. Like, you came in, you want to buy some milk, huh? Well, I don't sell milk to kids. You go get your mother and have her come in here and she can buy the milk. I'll keep it in the fridge. I'm just trying to think like other Admiral Taffy in Star Trek
Yeah.
Taffy.
would be a delight. So you went and broke your ship there.
Oh no!
Oh.
Yes.
Why does Starfleet keep this guy around? He runs a tight ship.
For real.
Oh, I hate it. I love it.
Yeah. I mean, if Starfleet kept around the incredibly affected by PTSD, what's his face? In the season 3 Picard. I've forgotten the character's name and the actor. And
Oh my God.
everybody knows.
Yeah.
Drawing a complete blank. My head is fully empty. Whole empty.
Anyway, yeah, like
Smooth brain.
for years.
Right now,
Like,
very.
he stayed on and like was clearly in a state of incredible trauma and managed to dodge the whole like ship's counselor thing that whole time. Like Admiral Taffy is in for sure. Like,
Oh, Admiral Taffy. Oh my god. Uh-oh.
Oh no.
I'm terrified.
Tales from Luke Taffy?
well, that was the milk soap.
Yeah.
Yeah. But somebody plays the Betazoid and has to listen to Admiral Taffy.
That's me,
Oh
Dave.
no.
That's right for you.
He knows. My favorite species in Star Trek are the Betazoids. That was directed. That was pointed.
No, but I got
then you have
thinking
to-
about.
Be with Taffy again.
Yeah. And just so you know, I found out about the actor's name. I'm not going to tell you now out of retribution.
Stashwick.
Todd Stashwick. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It,
With the eyebrow.
sometimes I got to get in there with the cattle prod on the hamster and
Hey.
get going again.
Move.
Wake up.
You're not dead yet. Just keep running.
Give that hamster a shake, throw it back in there.
Hamster arm. Yes.
Hamsters, not babies. You can definitely shake them.
They have no neck, so it works.
Happy Jack does not endorse shaking hamsters.
Oh my god.
So yeah, the internal monologue of Taffy has got to be so good.
Oh man. In my mind, it's Eye of the Tiger just all the time.
Well, it is 100% him versus the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. I love him so much. It's like looking at a chihuahua trying to fight everyone.
Yep.
For real.
Oh god.
Oh man.
We're a hamster.
One very angry hamster.
That's Haru, actually.
All right. I think that's kind of been enough of this. I feel like I have explored things I wanted to ask and things I wanted to talk about. Anybody have any last minute questions? Anything we want to talk about?
No, I really enjoyed this game.
I did too.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
I had
Yeah.
a blast.
So
Coming
fun.
in as a complete Blade Runner virgin, like I didn't watch the movies until I got cast on
Oh,
the show,
yeah.
and I like homework, so I watched them immediately.
Love homework.
Oh, it was fantastic, and it was a nice way to check those boxes. Like, okay, I've seen them now, and I love it. I thought it was so much fun.
Yeah, I really liked this series. I think we had fun, interesting like moments of like the gala and the like gentle murderer. Just really big like banner moments in this game that I really liked that will stick with me.
Yeah.
I think I liked the moment. It was at our little celebration after we solved the mystery. I think it was after we solved the mystery. We were talking about the nature of trauma, like
Yeah.
like implanted traumatic memories versus like experienced traumatic memories. I thought that was really interesting and cool and a fun thing to explore in this universe. And then we got called away because someone got murdered. And it was when the judge got murdered.
Yeah.
Yep.
I did have one of my favorite, almost to myself, but it was definitely at the Aurelian monologues in this entire, like in any AP I've ever been in, of like, what is the purpose of making anemoid butterflies if there's nothing for them to eat? They don't serve any purpose. Like, I really enjoyed that scene. It's really like stuck with me, actually. Yeah, just because it felt very like Roy in the first movie. It's just like constantly pontificating. And that's really what this system really encourages. So, yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Yeah. I whenever I think of the first movie, I think about like what it would be like to be a fully adult person and know that you're only around for 6 years
Yeah.
Yeah.
on purpose.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And, we just a couple of days ago lost the original police captain from the first movie with one of the best lines with that. If you're not police, you're little people.
Yeah.
Bit was so cool.
A very frank movie.
Yeah. Cool.
Cool.
Anyway, I have been Kadave. You will find me back here on Happy Jacks in the not super distant future for something fun and new. But I'm not allowed to talk about that yet. Then you can find me on my Twitch stream, still playing Dave the Diver.
Yay!
Monday nights for now, but might be shifting to Tuesday nights. To keep, because the game keeps getting wilder. Now, it's added in like Iron Chef style competitions where like a TV host shows up at my restaurant and challenges my chef. And then I have to be the sous chef now. And I'm like, I didn't sign up for that.
I can't fish.
I get the fish. Like,
I almost never want to play this game anymore because I want to hear you explain it to me more than I actually want to play, even though it sounds like it's a wonderful game.
every time I play, I uncover something else that's like a whole new chapter. And I'm like, what?
What's happening?
This is so much game.
I'm in Atlantis now. Why?
Yeah, it's a universe out there. And then if you find me on the socials, I'm also playing a lot of that Helldivers 2 game. Because everybody is.
Everyone
and
is.
It is of great delight to spread democracy to fully sentient robots that don't want us there. Like, yeah, it's a barrel of monkeys to play that. And I've thought about streaming that too because it's still diving.
True. You are correct. This is a good brand
Just
for
make
you.
that a thing, yeah.
Truck diving.
Yeah.
Dig up a Sega Genesis, Echo the Dolphin. Just
Oh, yeah.
The truck simulator game that I've also played is getting so close. They just have a few more like basically it started with just the West Coast. And they have added DLC to the game that is now fleshed out all the way to the middle of the country.
Oh.
But they just need to get a little farther, and then I'm playing that game again. because I can go and pick up a shipment of beer from Texarkana and deliver it to Atlanta.
Oh, wow.
And it's going to be the best day on a stream I can have. Because I will 100% find that hat from the film, and I will put it on, and copyright strike be damned, I'm playing the song, and we are going for it. Especially because I can have other people on, like they're on the CB. I can have people on Discord talking to me. Yeah, it'll be so good.
Nice.
Yes, that's what I want to do. Yeah. Speaking of game developers out there, make a crazy Cannonball Run game.
Oh.
I would love to play a race across the country game
Yeah.
with wacky characters and crazy cars. Like, not cartoony, but that'd be fun. Anyway, that's enough about me.
Oh no, it's me. Hi everybody, I'm Sam. You can find me on the internets at RedPandroid. And hopefully back here on Happy Jack soon, I think, for something I can't tell you what it is. So stay tuned. Other than that, I have been mostly writing. My good friend, who is definitely not me with a pen name, wrote this book called Shadows Light. Her name is Sylvie Hellstaff. And it's a monster romance. So if you like monsters and want to romance them and like to read, you might want to check this out. If you're over 18, it is spicy. It's on Amazon and Kindle Unlimited right now. So if you have Kindle Unlimited, you can read the ebook for free. And I'm about 50,000 words into the sequel.
Ooh. Your friend is very prolific.
Yeah, my friend is a very prolific writer.
You get regular updates from your friend.
Yeah, I do get regular updates from her TikTok at Sylvie Hellstaff. Also Instagram, not quite as posting as frequently there, but check out the TikTok and check out the Amazon link.
Hi everyone, I'm Kai. You can find me all over the internet at Estelle of Emladris on like every social platform except for Threads. Just because there's too many of them and that's the one I'm not on.
Nobody has time for everything. Yeah.
No. Gosh, you can find me back here haunting this channel in the near future. You can't keep me away. Gosh, and you can find me Saturdays on Transplanter RPG from now until at least a couple of years from now. We have a long campaign running called the Chaos Protocol where I play a sad dad cowboy and have a good time doing it. And gosh, what else? I'm always doing more TTRPG things and working on in game development. My very first game I ever worked on, which is the second edition of For the Queen being released on Darrington Press, comes out in May, so check it out. I did art research and development work as a consultant, as a culture I was a consultant. I can't remember exactly what title they put me under, but I did a lot of consulting for that. I had a lot of fun, so it was my very first game job, so go check that out. And it's also a great game. For the Queen's just a good game. Yeah, and I'm just always doing more things, so I'll see you all very soon.
And Alex is super awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Hey everybody, will still be Joey, I suppose.
Might be.
Might be, who knows?
Or you killed Joey.
I might have.
You took his identity.
Trust me, no one wants it. You can find me on all the socials at Feywild85, FEYWILDE85. Check there for different performance things. I will hopefully be on the channel again in the future, not in the near future, but in the future. I've got a couple of performance things happening right now, which is very exciting, but you can check my socials for all that information, be they Renaissance Fair or musical theater, and random drag race nonsense. So I hope to see you there.
All right, everybody. Thanks 100% for being Patreon members. You allow us to have this great place to gather and hang out with such amazing people, and I appreciate that very much. I also came the other morning with my kids in the car, came to this incredibly maudlin realization that by doing this, my kids and grandkids in the future have this vast archive of me speaking and recorded that they could go listen to at some point.
Yeah.
Because it's weird and rare for people of my generation to have any kind of recording of our ancestors. You know, I don't have anything with my grandparents' voice on it. I don't have precious few things that might have a recording of my dad on an old VHS tape. And I just thought that was kind of cool. Like the idea that somebody in 50 years could go find me on YouTube and be like, oh, that's my great grandpa, or who knows. Pretty cool. Especially for average Joe like me. Like I'm never gonna be the big Hollywood star that everybody knows. I'm just like playing games with awesome folks. So I think it's cool. So thank you for making it happen. You're awesome. We'll see you next time.